All right, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 15. It says, "For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head." I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel. Shalom to you brothers out there that are laboring, enduring the elements, making your body a living sacrifice, trying to seal the elect, making your call and election sure, seeking out your own salvation, as well as you sisters that are learning, listening, applying, being obedient to your husbands. Shalom, shalom. Once again, it's the brother Zechariah coming back to you with another lesson right here on this Saturday morning. All right, and Lord willing, this be edifying. So once again, Obadiah 1 and 15, it says, "For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near upon all the heathen," all the nations, which are the heathen, all right, outside of the nation of Israel, which we have been scattered. But no matter, even the mere fact that we have been scattered, we're still, that don't change the fact that we are still Israelites, okay? But the day of the Lord, all right, is going to be upon all these different heathen, okay? And it says, "As thou hast done," because you know they all had a hand, which we're going to get into it. They all had a hand in bringing us down, bringing the Israelites down. Okay, these different captivities, and just being very treacherous, dealing treacherously with us. All right, throughout the history, you know, and they thought that they got away, you know, scot-free with that, but nah, it don't work like that. All right. So again, it says, "As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee." Okay, thy reward shall return upon thy own head. All right. So pretty much you see the stuff that from the clips, the stuff that's transpiring over there in China. You know, they got hit with some very extreme weather. All right. You know, I think it was I saw one where it was a clip where it said like over 80,000 people were evacuated, man. Okay, hey, that's Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai sending forth judgment upon that place. All right, we know that the Moabites are the so-called Chinese. All right, so when you hear about that, the flooding, and as you saw the clips of the stuff happening over there in China, then guess what? Hey, those are the Moabites. Okay, so I want to go into some scriptures, you know, going into Moab. All right, and just you know how the Heavenly Father feels about them. All right, and what have they did regarding, with the children of Israel, okay? Because hey, we get on Esau, but we when the time is right, okay, we get on these other nations as far as like, you know, when things are happening to them present day, we can link it to the scriptures of why they're being judged, okay? And what have they done unto the nation of Israel, okay? All right, so this is the book of Psalms, chapter 60 and verse 8, and it says, "Moab is my washpot." All right, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. All right, Philistia, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. All right, triumph thou because of me. All right, but the highlight part is Moab is my washpot. Okay, and I want to pull up, meaning. Okay, what they say, you know, the meaning of Moab is my washpot. And it says, "Moab is my washpot," okay, is a phrase from the Hebrew Bible, specifically Psalm 60 and 8. All right, it says, and it signifies the state of extreme humiliation and subservience. All right, it implies that Yahweh views Moab as a lowly, insignificant vessel. Hey, the scriptures tell you that he looks at these other nations as a spittle. Okay. All right. And then it says, like a basin used for washing feet. Damn. Okay. And you know, requires washing feet is what? Water. And you notice that a lot of they get hit with extreme floods over around that region. All right. And it says, and treats them with contempt. All right. So see, you have that. All right. And then let me go ahead and grab this here. Isaiah 29 and verse 6, it says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts." All right. The Lord of hosts Yahweh, all right, with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. So yeah, you'll be visited of the Heavenly Father by way of these what they call natural disasters. Okay, the Heavenly Father sends out, which they're considered plagues or in judgment. All right, wrath of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man. All right. So let's go ahead and go into the article and we'll see what it says. All right. And it says flood leaves, and this is from Al Jazeera, by the way. All right. But it says floods leave 6 dead. Okay. And it says in thousands. Get that pop up. All right. And it says flood leaves 6 dead and thousands displaced in China. It says floods in southwest China kill 6 and force more than 80,000. See, I was right. 80,000 to flee as extreme weather hits. Okay, and like I said, you saw the clips I put in the intro. Hey, that's heavy, man. Okay, and that's the Heavenly Father sending judgment out upon Moab. You know, because hey, like I said, you know, Esau, yeah, Esau's in rulership, and Esau is doing a lot of wickedness, even towards our people now more than ever. Even, you know what I'm saying? But these other nations conspire too, man. All right, which, like I said, I want to highlight some things according to the scriptures. So when you see judgment go out upon them, best believe, you know, they had their hand, their share in it. Okay, and sometimes they show their hatred just as much as Esau, because they try to be like him, you know. All right. But it's we'll read a little bit. It says 6 people have died from floods in China. All right. Gizu, if I'm saying that word right, all right, province, all right, state media said after more than 80,000 people were driven from their homes this week. Damn. Towns and villages by a key river in China's Guangxi, all right, lay half submerged as floodwaters from a province upstream ward into the mountainous regions, with unexpected landfall of a tropical cyclone later on Thursday compounding disaster risk. It says the flooding that overwhelmed the counties, all right, of I ain't gonna try to pronounce these names, y'all, in Guizhou, China province on Tuesday has spread downstream to other parts of southwest China, including rural settlements in Guangxi by the Lui River, which originates from Guizhou. And that's all I'm gonna read on this, but pretty much y'all get the gist of it. Heavenly Father sending out judgment over there in land of Moab. It's been a while since I had an ambulance come through on one of my lessons. All right. But I want to go into a few of the things of Moab, you know, because one thing I would say about them is that they mold themselves in the likeness of like Babylon, okay, which we're going to go talk about that right here. This is 2nd Ezra 15 verse 46. It says, and thou, Asia, all right, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, all right, and art the glory of her person, okay. And you know, not just Moab, but Ammon, you know, which are the so-called Japanese, okay. A lot of these Asian countries, man, they mold themselves into the likeness of like Esau. All right, and I'm gonna show you some examples. But it says, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, see, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, okay, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. All right. Verse 48, it says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions, all right, which is Babylon, this place, okay, you know, and I'm gonna show you some examples, okay. And it says, therefore, saith Yahweh, okay. Verse 49 says, I will send plagues upon thee. See that? All right. Flooding can be even considered a plague. All right. Upon thee, it says, widowhood, poverty, and famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses. Look at that, with destruction and death. All right. So, hey, man, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You know, this is give it a chance to load up. Moving kind of slow, man. I saw this clip, man, and this sister was talking about, you know, do y'all find it weird that you know, you come out with your phones and out here and it seemed like they just act weird. And that's been mine, man. It's just been moving very, very weird. But you can see some of these pictures. You see how they dress, like their traditional garments, and you can see their women and stuff, look, covered up, You know, their breasts ain't hanging out, no cleavage, you know, nothing crazy. Even the men, you know, this very covered up, modest apparel. This is a modest apparel, but this is their traditional garments. Okay. So you pretty much see that, and now look at this. But this is what happens when you drink of the cup of Babylon, man. All right, look at this. All right, big difference. This is insane, man. But this shows you. This is like when you was reading what we just read. Okay, this is showing you like this is what happens when you drink of that Babylon wine. All right. Once you was covered up, modest apparel and stuff like that. All right, and then bam, then you get this. And you know it get worse, man. Look at this. See all this? Yep, it says you deck your daughters in whoredom. Look at that, man. Look what she got on. Like she about to go hit the street corner. You know? That's crazy, man. All right. But that's what happens. All right, their leaders, look, they wear the suit and the ties, the long ties and stuff, just like Esau. All right. That's not how they normally dress and stuff, but they wearing a suit and tie like Esau, man. See that? That's crazy. You know, and then she's hated in all her works. You know, they got their nuclear capabilities just like Babylon. You know, all right. Obadiah tells you that this devil Esau Edom, you know, he set his nest among the stars. You know, he's up there in the front, around the firmament. You know, in what they call space. All right. Well, guess what? Moab is doing it too. You know, see this going up there. All right, doing the same exact thing. All right, but it don't stop there. All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, and we'll just go ahead and start at the beginning. All right, verse 1. It says, all right, a song or psalm of Asaph. It says, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. Verse 2 says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult. All right, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So wait a minute, okay, so it's saying thy enemies, showing that the Heavenly Father has enemies, okay? These other nations are enemies unto the Heavenly Father. And guess what? They hate the Heavenly Father. It says, all right, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Okay, verse 3, it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, all right, and consulted against thy hidden ones, okay? Who are they consulted against? The Israelites, okay? But these nations came together, all right, conspiring. All right, verse 4 says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So these nations came together to take out the Israelites. All right. These people, you know, because back then people was asking me, well, what were we called? We got to be called something before the Israelites. Well, we were referred to as the sons of God. Okay. And I said, the Heavenly Father, it's not about this. See, when you get into that old black conscious stuff, it bug you out. The Heavenly Father's not dealing with that. Okay? He's not dealing with Egypt. He's not dealing with Kemet. He's not dealing with all that stuff that you jump in, the Anunnaki, all that old crazy talk. He's not dealing with any of that. All right? He's dealing with he chooses. He makes, you know, it ain't about you, oh, I'm the first man and this and that. The Bible warns about you lifting yourself up. He says you'll be a base. You'll end up being a base. Those that are meek and humble, you know, you trying to boast yourself and be something that you're not. And even though you can say, well, these people in this land, we were the original people, we this and that. The Heavenly Father's dealing with chosen. You know, he'll look through all of them and say, you know what? I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. But I like that one right there. And that's who I'm choosing. That's what it's about. So you want to strive to be what? Be chosen. All right? Chosen ones. Okay? And he's in his select ones, okay? Those that are meek, those are humble, you know? And that's what our people, it just don't register with our people, all right? But it says, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Okay, so these nations came together and conspired against us. Look at this, verse 5, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. Okay, these nations be fighting with each other, but hey, they came together to overthrow us. Okay, because we were a powerful people. Okay, and we serve the true and living power, which is Yahweh, man. Okay, and his name is dreadful unto these heathen. That's why they don't call on that name. Okay, but again it says, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Okay, the tabernacles of Edom. Okay, we know that to be the so-called white man. It says, and the Ishmaelites, the Arabs. Okay, it says it says of Moab. Wait a minute, the Chinese is on here. Okay, they're on that list. It says in the Hagarenes. We know the Hagarenes are what you would call those are Hamites. Those are Africans. Okay, yep. So for y'all thinking that everybody over there, you know, y'all onto this black thing, it said, hey, that's why there was that saying, not all skin folk, kinfolk. Hey, you guys, a lot of them are in on this too. All right, Gabal, okay, and Ammon, the Japanese. Look, Amalek is the those are your so-called Jewish people. Which, when you go into the transatlantic slave trade, you learn that they funded it. Okay, that's why they got their wealth. That's why they're like, you know, people say these people, they seem to be the richest people in the world. Well, guess what? They earn their money based off of funding the slave trade. Okay. It says in the Philistines, okay, which those are Hamites with the inhabitants of Tyre. You know, these are Hamites. A lot of Hamites were joined in this. All right. Assur is also joined with them. Okay. It says they have hope in the children of Lot. Okay. Salah. All right. So you have that, man. All right. This is the book of Jeremiah 48 and 25. It says the horn of Moab is cut off and his arm is broken, saith the Lord Yahweh. Okay. All right, verse 26 says, make ye him drunken, for he has magnified himself against the Lord Yahweh. See what I tell you about people lifting themselves up? The Heavenly Father don't like that, man. Okay, that's some sense of pride. All right, lifting yourself up, magnifying yourself against the Lord. Okay, it says Moab also shall wallow, all right, in his vomit. Okay, and he also shall be in derision. See that? Verse 27, it says, for was not Israel a derision unto thee? Okay, see that? Because we had wars with Moab. It says, what was he found among thieves? For since thou spakest of him, thou skippest for joy. Okay. Verse 28 says, O ye that dwell in Moab, leave the cities and dwell in the rocks. Okay. Hey, didn't they, what did it say? 80,000 flee from their homes. Okay. It says, and be like the dove that maketh her nest, all right, in the sides of the holes of the mount. All right. In verse 29, it says, we have heard the pride of Moab. See, there's that word pride. Okay. He is exceeding proud. Wow. It says his loftiness and his arrogancy and his pride. Look, there's that word pride again. Okay. You got pride in here twice and the word proud. All right. Arrogancy, arrogant. All right, and the haughtiness of his heart. Okay, see, the Heavenly Father don't like that, and he hates pride. He hates a proud look and everything, and Moab and them have that. Okay, this is Proverbs 16 verse 18. It says pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Okay, so nothing good comes from that. All right, I didn't mean to click that. All right, 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 18, it says, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. Okay, the houses shall be destroyed. Okay, and men shall be afraid. So, hey, ain't that what we saw? Ain't that judgment? Okay, you know, ain't there judgment happening? So when you tap into these scriptures and you start to get the understanding, not only awakening to who you are as a people, coming back to realizing you are the Hebrew Israelites, but you also get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of who these other nations are and the nations that had a hand in bringing us down. Okay, so when judgment is going out unto them, you know also to go back into the scriptures in which precepts explains, you know, the type of mindset, all right, these nations have. Okay, now nobody's more proudful than Esau, but Moab is up there. He's up there, all right. But again, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right. Then you got this regarding the Moabites and the Ammonites, which the Ammonites are the so-called Japanese. All right, and these two, the Ammon and Moab, are actually brothers. Okay, they are a product of what we would call incest. All right, that's what gave them that distinct look. They come from Lot. All right. What happened was that you had the situation with Sodom and Gomorrah when it got destroyed, and Lot and his two daughters, they survived. You know, they fled out. The angels gave them that, let them out of there. All right. Of course, Lot's wife ended up looking back, so she got turned into a pillar of salt. But they got away. But the daughters thought that they were the remaining people on the earth. They thought everything else got destroyed. Like there was nothing left. Nobody, no men, nothing. So they were like, man, if it's just us three, then we got to continue our legacy, our lineage, because if it's just the three of us, we're gonna, then that's it. So what they did was they came amongst each other, and they got their father drunk, man, and both of them slept with their father, man. And I know that's kind of crazy, to hear that, but hey, it happened. And and that's how you got Moab and Ammon. All right, which I think Moab's name means of my father. All right. But this is Deuteronomy 23 and verse 3. It says, an Ammonite and Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. All right, even to their 10th generation. See, they shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord Yahweh forever. Okay, so you see that. So with that, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and bring out this. This is the book of Jeremiah 47 and verse 2. And I'll go ahead and close it out with this. Like I said, it wasn't supposed to be a long lesson, but I saw that article and I just wanted to, because, people always say we always getting on Esau. Well, guess what? We're going to keep on getting on Esau. But we do get on the other nations too, especially when the time is right. Certain articles come out, we can go into it and we tell you, and we get on them as well. Because the Heavenly Father is against all these nations, man. Because they're against him, And clearly I showed you precepts, about Moab and how Moab conducts itself. All right. And that's why when you see the floods happening over there, hey, then you understand why. All right. Moab is his washpot. All right. But this is Jeremiah 47 and 2. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, waters rise up out of the north, and shall be an overflowing flood, and shall overflow the land and all that is therein. All right. And them that dwell therein. All right. Then the men shall cry, and all the inhabitants of the land shall howl. All right, because guess what? It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right, and he's only getting started. These nations, man, are going to know, that when judgment hit them, it comes from the Heavenly Father, because his name is going to be declared throughout the earth. All right, when it's all said and done. All right, and they can do nothing against the truth, before the truth. They all are going to bow, all right, and kneel before him, all right, through his son Yahushua when he returns. All right, so with that, call all Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. I want to give all honor, all glory, and all praise unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders of the nation of Israel, and shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. And to the next one, shalom.